Excuse me. Before I start on this, I'll wait for a few people to get in here so I can answer any questions if anybody has any. There was no sun out here a moment ago, now it's blaring down. I see a thumbs up, but nobody watching. How you doing, Jimmy? Hey, Doug. Alright, hello to everyone. So, this is a quick follow-up here. Yep, this is the follow-up to the Chrysler. I know a lot of people had asked me to, they were trying to understand what actually could happen with this flywheel. So I figured I'd bring it out here and show you guys what's going on. This is the center of the flywheel. They have the new flywheel here. As you can see, the center hub right here is all one piece. It's supposed to be that way. It is not. It's supposed to look like that. When we said, yep, typical flywheel cracks, exactly. So when we said the timing was off, this entire area here is shifted. As you can see where it used to be, looking over here, and you can see where all the stress cracks are all the way around the edges. This entire piece right here, this center hub, actually shifted. When that shifts, our crank sensor reads off of these individual windows right here. This is what we were watching. We were watching this whole entire thing shift very, very slightly, which is why the timing was off. That's why we were setting the 1391. Even though it says loss of camera crank, it's because it didn't see it at the time that it was expecting it. So, this is something we used to see a lot of. Once in a while, you still get it. You know, you don't get any bad vibrations because it actually wedges itself right in there. This is solid. This is not, I'm not pulling that piece out by any means. Once it wedges its way in there, it gets stuck. Oh, everything's doing great, thank you. So no vibrations on it. And this is what I know everybody was questioning there, like how did I know to look for the flywheel? Well, when the timing is off like that and the cam looks okay, but we're looking at those windows look like they're expanded, that's what I look for. No noise whatsoever. So that's all it really does there, guys. When it separates there, that entire center piece will just shift in one spot and lock its way back in again. Simply because the strength over here is what's actually holding it. So even with all these cracks on there, this thing will still, you will weld it back together. I'm not even going to touch that one. So this is exactly what happens. They ever fail so bad you lose drive? No, not at all. I haven't had one of those yet. On a GM I did once. I had one where we just sit there and crank and crank and crank, and the flywheel wouldn't even turn. Center hub was turning, flywheel stayed right in place. Yeah, these used to be a lot more common 15 years ago. You're right. I haven't seen one of these in a while, but I just wanted to show you guys though. I mean, this was a 5-minute diagnosis using the scope. And it's why I try to, everybody says, oh, isn't there another way to check? Isn't there an easier way to check? Well, no, this is the easiest way to check is with a lab scope. And lab scopes are available out there. I don't care if you have a Handtech for 80 bucks. I don't care which one you actually have. The fact that you can sit there and make a call like this and be 100% sure of yourself in minutes is really all you need. Now, again, you have to have known good. So when you do have a scope, especially if you're doing it, even if you're only a do-it-yourselfer and you're only doing 1 or 2 or 3 cars for yourself, your neighbor's car, whatever the case is, if you take known goods and you sit there and you save them for yourselves. Now, this program that I had here, I'll just load it back up again real quick. Oh, it's probably not even going to show, but this program that I had here, these were known goods that you used to be able to buy. This was back in the time there where I didn't have a big enough library. I don't even know what the coverage was on this, but Thompson Auto Labs put it out, and let's see. I know it's actually still available out there too. Can't even see the screen anymore because I'm on phone call number 4 coming in, even though I have it on Do Not Disturb. But if you go into like Chrysler, these are all the known good references that they had back then. They say 4.0, 4.7. Notice that there's no Hemi, there's none of that in there. It's just an older unit. Of information that they had. So nice that I still have it. I was able to sit there and just click in on it. Gives you the overall look on it, and then you zoom down a little bit. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong one here. But if I go down a little bit further with this, then of course I have the known goods there. Can I share the library? Well, that one is actually paid for, so that one I could not just give out. I'm not that kind of guy. You know, somebody went through the trouble of putting all the work into building the program, I wouldn't give it away for free. But it is available out there, and from what I know, it's actually pretty darn cheap. But you know, look it up out there. It's right there on the bottom, acemissfire.com. My library is shared out there on Facebook. There are a lot of groups out there. We have lots of groups. As long as you're participating, as long as you're giving your information to everybody else, you know, they're willing to share with you. So yeah, you know, it's not something you just take from, it's something that you give to also. Factory service manuals are starting to show some known goods. All depends on it though, because a lot of the dealers, they still, for whatever reason, they're still not using lab scopes, which is a shame. You know, they could have their guys be a lot more productive. They're flat raters, Mike knows. You know, if you can make a diagnosis like this in, you know, 5-10 minutes, it would certainly save you a lot of time. But either which way, this is the new flywheel that'll be going in. Everything will be good. It'll start right up. There's no question about it. But I figured I would come back down here again and do a quick follow-up for you. I only have a job right around the corner, so Gary did a nice job. He actually came in here and took this out for us. Actually, I think it was Mike that took it out for us. But Gary sent me some pictures. I just figured I'd come down here and do this. So you guys have any, if there are any other questions for it, you know, ask me now. Well, you can do it without the scope. It's just that it's going to take you a heck of a lot longer. I mean, look where this is. You know, this is on the flywheel. There's no damage on the outside here. You're not going to see any damage. What you will see is there is a little bit of a wobble to it, and that's what was giving us that larger window, by the way. No gaps out here. These are the windows that that crank sensor was reading off of, but it was actually the wobble. It's actually coming in and away, back and forth, away from that crank sensor. That's what causes it to look a little bit wider. How can you find me on Facebook? Just look it up on there. It's New Level Auto, and you'll see, I think I put it in as New Level Auto YouTube. I just started up the page, so I also shared pictures there, and if you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to, you know, you can ask me on there. If I'm not there to help out, Steve Scott, Simply Diagnostics, he comes in and helps out. So anyhow, but yeah, come on out there, like the page, and if you have any questions, you know, shoot them out to me later. In the meantime, I got to get back out there and go finish up a few more cars. Was it noisy when you cranked it? Well, there's a little bit of a noise, but it's more because it's cranking out of time. Not the type that you would think like you'd hear like a scraping noise or something like that. You don't hear any of that. It's wedged in there. It is not moving. Once it found that spot, it really forced its way in, as you can tell by all the stress cracks all the way around. You know, once it got in there, it was happy. All right. So again, any other questions, you know, hop on Facebook. Go in there and take a look. No, I didn't take it apart myself. These guys here just pulled it apart, and I just shot down here just so I can get the pictures for you. And if there were any other questions, I figured I'd show it, you know. Anyhow, guys, let me get running. And everybody have a great day. Thank you for all stopping in. See you soon. And Maria, stop making me so hungry. Always putting up all that good food.